Josh Darrell, Larry Bluestein.
Right here, baby.
See,
Look,
now when
I'm spreading it out.
when JT's here, you don't have to like stretch it to read it. He just flexes and you can see it.
Look.
Auto Nation Gridiron Report here on SouthFloridaHighSchoolSports.com. This is part 2 as we look ahead to round 2 of the playoffs coming up on Friday. And we're going to look at some of the games that we're playing outside of our area but involve teams from our area. We'll start in Class 5A where American Heritage Plantation. We'll head west and take on Immokalee.
State runner-up last year, Immokalee. You know, everybody's making a big deal out of Godby, and Godby lost in the first round. The only other team out of 5A last year was Immokalee, a very well-coached team. They do a tremendous job. They have so many great athletes. They've been able to, beat teams like Naples and play, above. Last week they had a little tussle with Cardinal Gibbons. Gibbons was in the game most of the way. We know what Heritage can do. Can Immokalee withstand big play after big play after big play? And that's just going to be the mantra the rest of the way forever for American Heritage. Can the opposition stand, okay, so you just let up that 88-yard run by Sony Michel and that 91-yard punt return by Isaiah McKenzie. Can we bounce back? A lot of teams really can't. Gibbons showed that they couldn't. They got a couple of scores down on interceptions. This is a very good Immokalee team. This is a borderline exceptional American Heritage team. I think American Heritage goes on the road, does what they do. They already showed to me by going to Lakeland Kathleen and beating the Lakeland Kathleen senseless that the rest of the way, the only team that's going to beat American Heritage is themselves. I think they go on now. I think they win. I think they win it all because they have that type of talent.
So I guess that means we talk about American Heritage next week. We already know which way Larry's leaning.
That's
all right. We'll move down to Class 3A. Westminster Christian will take on Steve Walsh and his Cardinal Newman High School team.
Hey, my pick that everybody laughed about early in the year to go to
Ryan
state.
Cedric Irvin.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we had a chance to watch them during last year and also during the 7-on-7 season. Not a more motivated team that you'll find in Westminster. Their coaching staff, the head coach, as you mentioned, said Irvin, doesn't let them sleep a second.
No.
They have so much talent. Hunter Boyette has done a great job this year. Their defense has been just superb. Can't say enough. I know that Jordan Cronkite got a little banged up against Pahokee last week, but I heard it was a little ankle sprain. He'll be back. He'll be back ready to go. He's a very crucial part. We've watched him in the Gulliver game really make a big deal. But it's up front, that offensive line. You don't usually see a 3A team with this much size, and they're very athletic. Cardinal Newman, we watched him. We saw him. You sat under the tent with Steve Walsh 2 years ago during the rain. We saw, and everybody talks about one player, and that's Rudolph. And this kid, I will tell you this, everybody who you talk to, no matter who it is, said this kid is a one-man show. He could take over the game from offense and defense. Travis Rudolph. Yeah, Travis Rudolph. Jeremy is no relation, but there was somebody who used
Rudolph.
to... Yeah,
Rudolph you covered.
Rudolph I covered somewhere along the line, but no, actually went to UNLV. That's where I remember. But Travis Rudolph, and we watch him catch the ball. We watch him play defense. Steve Walsh has more. I mean, they have a very good offensive line, a tremendously well-coached team. I mean, they beat American Heritage Delray out and also Pahokee for this top spot. They're at home. This is going to be a road trip for Westminster. They've made some road trips this year and have done very well. Let's see what happens. I think Westminster continues on, and they played a tough game against Pahokee. Pahokee's very physical and they're very athletic. So Westminster, we know both teams, and Coach Walsh is he's done a great job. He really has with those guys. I think they were a 1 or 2 win season team when they took over, and now he's a district champ.
All right, and then you mentioned size before. You normally don't see certain size at this level on the offensive line when you mention Westminster Christian. Right. Most people probably don't see the size that Champaign Yacht has on their defensive line with Trevante Valentine, and they were going to travel up and take on Glades Day.
Well, this is one of those games, Glades Day, they're sort of the Dillard syndrome. I mean, is this really the team that got beat 42-7 by Chaminade? Come on. I mean, this is a team that came back and beat a good Dade Christian team, a motivated Dade Christian team. JT and I talked to Coach Sonneborn on the radio show about a week and a half ago. And the one thing that we asked him, and he said, we're a different team now. Glades Day is always good, but we should be okay. So maybe Glades Day came alive at the right time. I just don't see it. I just think that Champagnat is another one of those teams.
Going for the clean sweep here,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that they're just one of those teams that just right now. I mean, they may get pushed a little bit by Clearwater Central Catholic in the next round to go to state. But I think this is a team that certainly, and we've watched them, that has everything, has the goods. I mean, they have as good a skilled kids as you're going to find. Their offensive line's getting much better. One of the best quarterbacks around, young quarterbacks around. So I don't think that I know Mike Tunsil spent a lot of time building this program, and I kind of vaguely remember when they first started, and this was not a very pretty sight to see. But right now, what a picture to watch Champagnat. They're a machine. They're well coached, and they're doing the right things right now at the right time.
All right, so there we go. Larry likes the clean sweep. My American Heritage over Immokalee, Westminster Christian over Cardinal Newman, and Champagnat over Glades Day. We will be out. But we won't be at these three games because these are being played outside of our territory. But hopefully we'll get somebody back here, and we'll have the scores updated for you on South Florida High School Sports. For Larry Bluestein, I'm Josh Darrow. Another edition of the Auto Nation Gridiron Report here on SouthFloridaHighSchoolSports.com.